myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters, and we ain't got nothing to hide.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome in here to Pregaming. Sports Money, Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. Looking to tackle these bookies with all that late, last-minute information and line changes, cash flow splits, where the big money's coming in, how the books are reacting is what we're talking about there. The massive slate, the games, the plan that you guys put together, all the prep that we've done today comes to fruition. And we bring it all to the table right here. Excited for this slate tonight, you guys. We got ourselves a nice little, I really like tonight's slate, despite it being the last day for the NBA before the All-Star break. Widen up. Let's go deep. We got some great trends to talk about in the NBA. And of course, college hoops has a glorious card tonight. So we're going to go deep into college basketball. We've got a 6-pack of plays out there, 5-pack of plays in college. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 and a 5. There's 10 plays in all tonight. That's what I know. I'm really excited. We got one double dip. Actually, you know what? I forgot hockey. How could I forget the most important sport? We've got the Four Nations Cup involved as well tonight. So that's going to be fun. Looking forward to breaking that thing down, talking a little bit about, some basic information that we have at our fingertips for that thing. What a game last night. Canada gets it done, victorious. Sadly, they did not cover our puck line. But hey, it was still an impressive game. I talked about that power play, didn't I? Said they got 1,000 points scored in the NHL. They scored within the first minute of the game. It was on a power play. Now, kudos to Sweden. Bounced back, fought hard. I had to take a juicy puck line or a juicy play on Canada live going into overtime. It was like minus 160. I was like, they're not losing. They're not losing. Not on Canadian soil. After what they went through, yeah, they might not cover that puck line, sure, but fired on it, cashed it, got some points, got the over in there. It was a fun game. It's fun. I mean, the Canada team was talented. Both sides, though, in all fairness. Puck flying all over the ice. And again, Sweden didn't quit. They're down, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 3-3. Probably could have made some good money betting on Sweden plus 1.5 when they went down. And that's exactly what I thought. We don't know what to interpret from these teams and how they play. Offense, sure. It's going to take some defense some time to figure it out, but tonight's game should be a fun one. The Finnish boys, Team Finland, will battle Team America, Team USA. This should be a great game to talk about. Look at up and down the line. I might have been incorrect about the assessment of the Team USA. I wasn't too bought into their defense. Now, speaking of defense, Shea Theodore is a injury casualty from yesterday's game. Defenseman for Team Canada. What I learned about that is they can bring somebody up. They can go to the depth. But they can't do it unless one of the 6 guys they have remaining gets injured. So they have 7 defensemen on the team. One goes down. They've got 6. Until they lose that 6th guy to 5, they can't bring up another defenseman. So that will be interesting to see what happens with Canada. And we saw Shea Theodore goes out. Maybe that's a function of why Sweden finds a way to come back. We'll see. We will see. But boy, it's going to be a fun one tonight. I love watching Team USA. I'm all red, white, and blue. I told you. That's how I get down. We'll talk about it. Best goaltender in the game, and Connor Hellebuck. They've got Jake Ottinger. Jeremy Swayman finds a way on that team as well. I don't know how. Maybe because they're playing in Boston. They needed a guy there to drive the Zamboni and then serve third string. I don't know. Maybe, but it'll be fun to talk about that game. I've got a player prop And I've got a play in that game as well. Not a side or total. It's kind of a hybrid. It's a team total. Hint, hint. Look, last night, Canada, we lost to -1.5. We got the Sidney Crosby spot, though, the assist out there. The guy gets the playmaker. If you don't know what a playmaker is, it's 3 assists in a game. You know what a hat trick is, right? Guy goes out there and gets 3 goals in a game. The playmaker is when the player goes out there and gets 3 assists in the game. So, shout out to Sidney Crosby. Too much talent for that kid not to go out. Well, kid, was he 37 now? Too much talent on that team for him not to go out there and do exactly what he did. Set up all them talented playmakers. I don't know if you guys saw the stat. I think it's 26. It's 26 or 27-0 that Canada is with Sidney Crosby wearing their jersey. Something stupid like that. It was unbelievable. Speaking of stupid, we had a stupid, crazy night last night. Hammered the board. Up and down the board. Not just hammered it, but I thought some really, really intelligent calls. For example, didn't mess with the side in Cleveland or Robert Morris, but took the under. 141.5. Smoked the total. 136, I think. 136 or 137. Let's see. College hoops. Got the under 147 in the A10 at Davidson. Cashed it. If you played the first half with me, you cashed that too. Under 142.5 in the St. Bonaventure game. Cashed it. A10. Unders, we talked about those, just developing some chops for the second half of the season. How about that Providence game? Providence and Xavier. Over 146.5. They put up almost 200 points. Dialed in. Duke game. What did I say about that Duke game? Duke off a loss. Duke off a loss. Duke off a loss. If you took Cal's team total under, anything Cal undercashed, Duke's undercashed. 144.5. They had 135. So we had that thing by almost a 10-pack. How about that Mizzou first half? Mizzou first half -5. Wow, they won that first half by like 20. Could have laid 20. Could have laid 15. And then Oklahoma just couldn't recover. So that was a great play for all those live full game Missouri bettors out there, like our guy Razor Sharp Picks. NBA. Look, we were dialed in last night. What do you want? What do you want? Sorry, I'm not sorry. Over in that Pacers-Washington game, concern was, can Washington score enough points? Well, it was 242.5. Washington gets 130. 264 points in that game. 242.5. Plenty good. We did lose the Spurs. Spurs plus 8.5. They lose by 13 to nasty Nate Celtics. The Celtics smashed. That's what it is. We cashed the under in that Orlando-Charlotte game, 203.5. Don't matter. They only got 188 points. Dialed in. Dialed in. We go to this Atlanta game. How about this plus 260? Ice Tray. Ice Tray. Plus 8. Ice Tray. He's a little sweaty early. Boy, King of the Court. He was just 3 points behind. That would have been a nice. I don't know if you guys are playing King of the Court, but Trae Young was my guy. I told you why. He rocks in Madison Square Garden. He rocked again last night. He had, 45 points, rebounds, and assists or something stupid like that. And the plus 8 cash. That was a plus 260 parlay we put out there. The Houston under didn't get there. 230. We had 221.5. Clearly missed that thing by a mile. Golden State blew it for us against Dallas. Thought Golden State had their shit figured out. Turns out they did. And they play again tonight. Lastly, though, the one that I thought was most impressive was that Memphis plus 3.5. We talked about the first half of the game. Then we talked about the second half of the game. Margin of victory in the first half, plus 13 on the second leg of a back-to-back. Margin of victory in the second half, -1. What happened? I wanted the hook. If you'll remember, I said I'm confident in these numbers. I want the hook. So I paid up the plus 3.5 at -115. 66-63. We needed the hook. We cashed it with the hook. And then they got busted up in that second half. Busted up, blown out. In hindsight, should have dropped the hand. I was live spending some time with the fellas, and I should have just dropped the hammer on that Clipper spot. But it's all good. It was a great night. Wide card, a deep card. Made me a little nervous. Had a lot of money tied up out there. But it was all good. Made some good live bets as well last night. So that's the way we go. And, you know, we had a poor start to the day with some of them soccer plays and tennis plays. Another poor start today with tennis. My guy Barry let me know tennis ain't my sport. I'll tell you what, it wasn't too long ago tennis was my sport. We're going to have to get back to it because in the summertime, it's baseball, golf, tennis, and NASCAR. So maybe I'll hold off on a couple of those premium plays until we get this thing figured back out. Okay, let's go, you guys. Know the deal. It is that time. It's thumbs up time. Man, we went, 6-2 on Monday, 4-4, I think, on Tuesday, and 10-3 yesterday. That's real money. Real money. Working hard, grinding it out. Trying to bring you guys best bet. Went huge lap. Didn't have to go all them place. Then I open it up and I see we got 50 thumbs up. Goddamn disrespectful. Take the time right now. I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to encourage you strongly. Don't be one of those individuals that doesn't hit the thumbs up button. That's the way that we grow. That's the way YouTube promotes us, continues to grow this thing. Whether you want to be a gold or silver level member, just get free memberships. Don't matter. But it does matter if you hit that thumbs up. So kindly, please. I saw Ramon's show had like 25 thumbs up. Give you guys free plays on a regular basis. All we needed to do is close that comment section. Smash that thumbs up button. Then pop the comment section up and we'll go again. Okay. Thumbs up time. Close the comment section. Smack that thumbs up. Then pop the comment section up and we'll go again. Okay. 50 thumbs up yesterday. 25 for Ramon. Close the comment section. Hit the thumbs up button. And then we'll get going. It's that important. It is that. Do I have to do it again? Do I have to do it again? Let's see how many thumbs up we got. Where's my guy, Nasty Nate? Where's Nasty Nate when I need him? Need my thumbs up counter out there, Nasty Nate. What we got, my friend? What do we got? What do we got? Let's see. I'll tell you what we got. I'll tell you exactly what we got. It's that important. It's that important. You guys might not realize. It's that important. Make sure my mute button's off. All right, we got 42. 42. 42 is it's not terrible. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's not great. But it's not terrible. You understand? It's that important. Some of you sitting out there, I know somebody's out there. There's those 30 of you out there that haven't smashed the thumbs up button yet. We're up like 20 units in the last 6 days. It's that important. Didn't even count some of them NFL Super Bowl plays. I mean, shit. Went like 5-0 in the NFL Super Bowl plays there that we gave. 5-1, I think, on the Friday night show. Live shows all the time. It's that important to smash that thumbs up button. So, okay. You guys get the point. You guys get the point. Let's go. You guys know the deal here. It's time to get going. Pens and pencils out. Paper as well. You're going to want to write down the best of the business, sharing their best bets right here. And before we even get going, I want to shout out Redbeard, gifting not one, but 2 sports money memberships. And I want to shout out my guy, Joe Dunham, gifting not one, but 2 sports money memberships. You guys are the real ones, man. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Blessing our action. Getting us ready to go. Excited to get these plays out there and see if we can't continue to smack the bookies in the bottom. Yes, DJ Hardy, there will be a live show tonight. We're just getting the time down. You know that's where we make all our money. I got a pretty predominantly early stat card from a college basketball perspective, so we will certainly have more plays to share with you guys there. Man, even wrapped it up. I think we had a 3-0 finish on the card last night. with some college basketball. Added that New Mexico under. Easy peasy. Shout out to my guy, Jay Peasy. Let's get after it. You guys know the deal. Share your best bets out there so that we can get rolling. Our guy, Gerald Jones, is coming in here. App State minus 4.5 in the first half. Cards cover first half, last 8. Cards cover first half. He's 8-5 best bets. That's our guy, Gerald Jones, coming in, ready to roll. Shout out to all you guys. Appreciate you spending this time here with us. Let's see what other best bets we have. I respect all you guys being out there ready to go. Perky. Here's my guy, Perky. Another epic kick live stream. Let's go, Moolah. Shout out to the Futon Bets. Likes Georgia Southern money line. Me too. I like that under in that game as well. I got about 40 college basketball games here. So I got plenty of opinions on some of these games, you guys. Don't you worry. Shout out to my guy, Dan's in the house. Down under. Dan, how are you, my friend? Let's go. Let's cash these tickets. I agree. Yeah, the 3-on-3 overtime was wild, wasn't it? You know, mixed opinions. I think it was McKinnon didn't want the 10-minute overtime. He says he was absolutely gassed. And a bunch of guys said they liked it. Nobody wanted to see that game go to overtime or to a shootout. I agree. I thought it was fun. It was a fun. I mean, that's my favorite style of hockey. A lot of haters, man. A lot of haters out there don't understand how lucky we are to see 4 nations. Now, the World Cup of Hockey will be back. There will be 8 teams announced for the World Cup of Hockey. I have a feeling Russia's coming back. Stop Geo's locked in on Isaiah Collier, over 8.5 assists. Covered in 6 straight games. Overall, with no Sexton. Bonus tonight, no Clarkson either. Collier assist without both 10, 11, 13. He'll see 30-plus minutes. That's what we look for. The angles. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Speaking of angles, I was opening a letter today. Fucking sliced myself right, paper cut, right between the webbing. Woo-hoo-hoo. Almost brought a tear to my eye. All right, you guys, let's go. Subhuman Murray, king of the court winners, brought in over 6K last night. Damn, he got me, dude. He got me. Shout out to Peter. Appreciate all you guys rocking here with us. Let's get to work. Thumbs up. Hit the like. Yeah, I appreciate you guys, man. It's that important, you know? We got plenty. Shout out to Old E. Gifted 5 sports money memberships. Look at you guys, man. That is awesome. That means a lot, dude. That means a ton. Respect. I appreciate you guys being here, attentive on a regular basis, but to come in here and contribute your dollars out of pocket means an absolute ton. So thank you, Old E, my friend. Gifted a 5-pack, you guys. If you got these memberships, pay it forward, upgrade, do something with them. Don't just let them go to waste. You want to make sure you capitalize out there. Premium plays galore coming down the pipe. Cheers, my friend. Old E, I appreciate you. Cheers you with my Diet Coke. Then we'll get some cocktails rolling and make it happen. Okay. KV's in the house. Says need that NBA Dallas trend. Second leg back-to-back. Action Jackson says the Warriors line had monstrously moved towards them. I agree. Bo Jackson giving us some trend action. Says Minnesota Timberwolves have a record of 4-0 against the Northwest Division. You know I am a believer, my friend Bo. You know I am. They're built to operate within their division. And when they get out of the division, here's a validation point. I know we didn't kill it in tennis today, but I was looking at a opportunity that lined up so perfectly for this minus 200, and I thought, you know what? F it. Maybe these are fades. And the minus 200 lost. So they are fades. They are. Peter Grassi says, Dan thought I was a Coors Light. Nah, not a beer drinker. Red Bull and sugar-free vodka. Or reverse that. Sugar-free Red Bull and vodka. The occasional glass of wine. I prefer red wine. That's about it. That's about it. On every occasion, maybe if I'm out of vodka, I'll switch to some Jack and Diet Coke. Now you guys know. Okay. Okay. Time to move on this card. Brisk pace time. I like the pace at which things ran yesterday. I know we started off a little late, but it fucking was great, man. Getting that money. Dollar bills, y'all, in the pocket. Where were they supposed to go? Okay. NHL, or for the Four Nations. I told you. I got some plays for you guys in there. I went with Team USA's over 3.5 goals. Look, -1.5. They should go out there and bludgeon these boys. Of all the teams, the defense is the thinnest it could be on Finland. You say Saros, Nashville Predators goaltender. I'm putting a flyer out there on the Nashville Predators to win the Stanley Cup. But Saros has been pretty freaking bad this season. And it's with that thought process that I expect the firepower. You got Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel, Jack Hughes. You got both Tkachuk brothers firing out there. I mean, the list goes on and on. Matt Boldy, he's been pretty cold. He's been pretty cold for Minnesota. Brock Nelson for the Islanders, okay. I think that's more supporting cast for Jack Hughes in that center role so that Jack Hughes can just go out there and try to do his best Connor McDavid. Kyle Connor, Winnipeg Jet on that second line behind Chris Kreider at center, and there's Brady Tkachuk. I would have put the Tkachuk brothers on the same line. Fuck it. But they decided not to. They decided to look at this third line. This is where shit gets real. This is where you do end up blowing out team totals and you do start covering puck lines. Line number 3, Jack Eichel, Dylan Larkin, Matthew Tkachuk. You know I've got Matthew Tkachuk as the top goal scorer in the tournament. I like Matthew Tkachuk to score a goal tonight. His power play usage, the way he's going to get around the board, I got him at +255. Matthew Tkachuk, anytime goal tonight. Then listen to this fourth line. Jake Gunsel, Austin Matthews, and Vincent Trocheck. They obviously did this a long time ago because JT Miller still shown in a Vancouver jersey. I mean, who am I to question these lineups? I just coached a team to a state championship and all that other fun stuff around it, but I don't know, man. I don't know why Austin Matthews is buried down there on the fourth line. Other than, like, the first line seems like that should be the fourth line. You know what they should do is they should have Austin Matthews with Jack Hughes and Matt Boldy. Fuck Matt Boldy anyways. But anyways, that's firepower. And then, of course, on defense, man, they got the other Hughes brother, Quinn Hughes. Not the other. There's 3 of them, right? But Noah Hannafin's a solid Vegas Golden Knight. Brock Faber, Adam Fox, Jacob Slavin, Zach Werenski. Guy's been banged up, Zach Werenski. And then Charlie McAvoy. It's a flyer that they went with Zach Werenski. Because if he does get hurt, they're going to be down that man, and that could be an issue. But team total over 3.5 for the USA game. I expect him to score in bunches. There's some parlays. There's a parlay boost out there with DraftKings. Listen to the words that I am saying here. Jack Eichel shots on goal. Matthew Tkachuk score. Team total over. The puck line. And then you say Saros. I would take his, let's see here. Under 31.5 shots on goal. I like Jack Hughes to get an assist. But again, I bet Jack Eichel to get the score. If you're looking for a same game parlay, yeah, sure. Take the puck line. Take Saros under 31.5 saves. Take Hughes 1+ assist. Take an Eichel goal. Spread it around if you want. Matthew Tkachuk as well at +255. I expect both them boys to get this thing in the net. So we'll see. Should be fun. You know, if you're looking for the flip side of who the hell does Finland have? Notable player, Sebastian Aho, should probably be the guy to score the most goals for the Finnish team. Anton Lundell. Yeah, okay. We know him. Joel Armia, probably a little sneaker out there. He's from Montreal, or he plays for Montreal. He's in Montreal. The team has been using him as their fun ambassador, letting the squad know where to go and how to make it happen. Patrick Laine hasn't done shit since the new game came out there. We talked about that the other day. Mikko Rantanen, tucked in there on that third line on the right wing. I mean, Finland's got some boys. I don't think they have the defense, though. Miro Heiskanen's been hurt. I don't know. Some of these guys, what's with these double letters? Oli Mata? Yanni Hakanapa? Rasmus Ristolainen. That's my guy from Philly. But look, the problem they're going to have is Saros in goal. They don't really have many options either. Lankinen, Pekka Luukkonen for the Sabres, and Jussi Saros for Nashville. It's going to get ugly for them boys. It's going to get scored on mighty tonight. So go up, make something happen with that. I hope you guys cash big in the Four Nations. Use those boosts when they're out there. Toucan says best strip clubs in the country. That's a true statement. That's a true statement. As a connoisseur of evening entertainment, I feel I'm appropriately gauged to evaluate such. And since I've been there several occasions, you know, it's messed up. I didn't go to Montreal until I lived in Philadelphia. And that's messed up because it was like an extra 2.5 hours on the trip when I could have gone living out of New York. In any event, that's the way we're going to get paid in the Four Nations Cup. Out of all the teams, Finland. I don't want to say they're fucking terrible, but they should be pretty bad. They should be pretty bad. And it's not just that their offense is subpar; it's that their defense is challenging at best, and their goaltending stinks. So expect them to get lit up. But listen, I've been back in Team USA my whole life. You know what struggles? Puck lines. That's why I went to the team total. I don't want to put that bad juju out there, but minus 1.5. So it's like they get kind of complacent and then shit goes awry. Okay. Let's get to some college hoops. We got ourselves a pretty full slate. College of Charleston and UNC Wilmington will pop off here with 62% of the bets and 79% of the cash on Charleston. Good old Choach. College of Charleston. The lines dropped, finally, about an hour and a half ago to 5.5, I saw. Not a ton of sample, 5,000 tickets in this game. Not a lot of people want to get invested. Man, look at these two teams. Arguably, some of the top in the conference. 151.5 was the total. It's moved to 153.5, and we have 70% of the bets and 72% of the cash on the over. I could see that being a tempo style game in this thing here. Overall between these two teams, yeah, the over for Wilmington at home is 9-3-1. Thing is, when Charleston goes on the road, their offense doesn't translate. They're 4-7, and that's where I think they're going to catch the bug in this one here. Both teams have been playing tremendous. Charleston coming off a cover, but they're 4-1 in their last 5. They lost to William & Mary. My green and gold, 90-75. February 3rd. Flip side of things, UNC Wilmington is cementing themselves in the upper echelons of this mediocre conference. They've gone 5 straight wins, 3-2 against the spread, but it's because their numbers are so huge. 11.5, 17.5, 17.5, 7s. They did have a 2.5 against Drexel. Drexel coming in 16-8 against the spread. And they beat them. They were 2.5-point favorites. They beat them. They didn't cover. So we got Charleston off a cover that's not covering a lot. And we got Wilmington off a non-cover that has been covering a lot. Do you see where we're going with this? Try to simplify it. Just kind of keep it, so simple. But of course, we're going to leverage a trend here. How about some intersecting zeros? Everybody's favorite. Here's a real simple one. They both kind of coordinate with each other. They both correlate. I told you, I don't like to fade a team just because they have an O for, meaning Charleston. 0-14 when the total is less than a 152. They have a rest advantage on their opponent, and the opponent had 10 or more turnovers the last time they met. Meaning they dominated the team, the numbers low. I don't say dominated, but they turned the ball over a lot. Defense got it done for them, and that's what doesn't translate for this Charleston team, in my opinion. The flip side of things, though, where I will say intersecting zeros, I want to get involved. Wilmington has themselves a 16-0 number. When the total's outside that 147.5, and they have less than 6 days rest. We're coordinating And the fact that, I'm sorry, I screwed up the less thans there, but the fact that we've got this total at 153, we've got the rest disadvantage for Wilmington. We've got the rest advantage for Charleston. We will bang away Charleston to get this one done. That's how we're going to open up tonight's card. I'm sorry, Wilmington. Whoops. I hope that wasn't a Freudian slip. 5.5. This number's moving now. So remember I said it took an hour and a half to drop down to 5.5. Once it dropped down to 5.5, it's now starting to pop back up. The best number you can get, I got the minus 105 at 5:13 p.m. It's now minus 5.5 at minus 112. So it's nice to see that bet stamp action because you can see, we got some CLV, but more important that we're seeing that late line movement moving back in our direction, meaning the sharps didn't necessarily love it at 6.5. But it popped down and they said, okay, meaning they think this is probably a 6-point game. We'll see how it translates overall, but I'm going to jump in there. I'm going to fire away on them, boys. I'm going to look at this game. Campbell, the Fighting Camels. I'd consider a Campbell jersey, or at least a Campbell hoodie. Fighting Camels, maybe a Campbell hoodie. Just kind of like the name, the Fighting Camels. Got Northeastern, them book nerds. You know the deal. Bunch of nerds. 96% of the bets and 70% of the cash are on Campbell. When we look at the percentage of bets, we typically look at those as public. Their parlays, their teasers, their player props. It's all the tickets being written. Every $2 ticket, every $10 ticket. All of that factors into the bets. Then we look at the percentage of cash, and we typically look at that as being the sharper bettors or the bigger bettors. Maybe not necessarily sharper, but the bigger bettors. They're not fucking around with teasers. They're not basketball teasing for 3 points or 4 points or whatever the numbers that you get. And what happened here is everybody, 96% of the public is hammering them Campbell Camels. Why not? They're 9-3 in the conference. They're top of the trop. And they're going to play a bunch of nerds. But 70% of the cash. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy there. 26% of the bets. We've also got movement to the under. You know. Favorites and unders. 140.5 has moved to 138.5. Even 138s now. And we have 65% of the bets and 65% of the cash on the over. Stop the cap right there. If you're trying to figure out how to read these lines, first of all, it's most important we get the first number that hits the street. Not the handicap numbers after that. The first number. Talked a little bit about this on First Strike yesterday. UFC, Bet Online, they're the ones that release the first number. It's the other books that drop in after that, and they're handicapping that first book that opens. Now, they open with limits. But the point is, the 2.5 to 4.5 shows movement with all that money coming in on Campbell. Suspect red flag. This number just dropped again from 138 to 137.5. Real time. That was that little buzz. 140 dropped 140.5 now to 137.5. If we know we've got reverse line movement on both sides of things and the public pounding away on this Campbell side of things, why is the number not moving back in the other direction? Why are we not talking about that being the case? Well, we look at it overall. I mean, look, 9-4 Campbell is on the road against the spread. Those spread numbers. And yet, it's moving away from them. Campbell, banging away, 5 straight wins. Coming off a non-cover, their numbers started getting a little bloated. Now, they were winning as dogs. They were at Hofstra, Gina from Hofstra. They won 69-67 as a 6.5-point dog. They busted up by green and gold. 96-55 is insulting. And they got, another Hofstra spot there. Gina took the road trip. She got busted up again, 75-52 that time, second time they played. Elon Musk, 76-58. And then NCAAB 66-62. Ultimately, I was looking at this thing and I found some trendy spots I want to get involved. First of all, if you're not sure and you're looking at a game and you're trying to find some action, if you didn't have access to trends, then that would be fine in itself. But what do we talk about? It's hard to string them together. Road dogs on a 7 or greater game win streak, if the total's bigger than the last time they played, and the team they're playing shoots over 45.5%. Long streak, they increased the number from the last time you played the team, and the team you're playing averages shooting the lights out. That means they're expecting points. with those points. They're saying that the road team on that big streak does not hang on. They're 13-35 in those spots. 13-35. When it's a bigger number, the road team's got that big streak, and then we got all that reverse line movement on it. I've told you enough. I'm getting involved. I'm taking the nerds. Taking the book nerds. Either you got to go finish your science project, study for your test, or shoot free throws, and they're studying for their tests. But this line's suspect galore for them Campbell Camels. Hoodie or not, I might put enough money on this one to buy the hoodie tonight, just off at Northeastern, picking this thing up. And then some, maybe a couple of hoodies. We'll see, but I like some Northeastern in this spot, you guys. What say Remo says, nerds? Every time I say that, I think of that. He says, like the Campbells, but didn't bet it. Okay. Rick J, yeah, it's a tricky one. This is a tricky one. Sportsman. No, Trisha, I'm not going to the parade tomorrow. I'm not. I'll watch it. But I'm not going to it. Saquon Barkley bought his entire offensive lineman a full truckload of Bud Lights. Whole truck. I mean, the big truck, too. Not like the little short bus. The full truck of Bud Lights for all of his linemen. They must like Bud Light. So it's Bird Light tomorrow when they go through that parade, but not for me. Not for me. I might watch it. Bittersweet. The season's over. I'd like more season, but there's nobody left to beat. Beat everybody. That's all you can do. Okay. I do like the green and gold, by the way, against Gina from Hofstra. They're at home in this case, and I thought that was a good little spot, but I didn't get there. I'll tell you another one that I really liked that just missed the cut for me was North Florida, plus 10.5. Dare I say wrong team is favored? That I'm not sure of, but 10.5 is too many. And I'll tell you the other one that just first cut, first pass, had to kick it off at the last second. Towson, Delaware. They just played. In Delaware, Towson kicked the shit out of them. Now they're at home and it's a 6-point favorite. I almost pulled the trigger. Respected sharp buying was coming in on the over in the Lemoyne Dolphins game. I don't know if I can do that. I'm a degen, but that's some degen shit right there. Jacksonville and Central Arkansas. This game opened at 9.5. It's moved as high as 11.5. Still some 10.5s out there, but 95% of the bets and 80% of the cash on the road favorite to beat up on the Central Arkansas team, who's probably the worst in the conference at 2-10. Jacksonville, one of the best at 9-3. Central Arkansas is not just bad in the conference; they're bad against everybody. 6-19 record. We'll have to look and see who those 6 teams where they beat. This total's gone from 136.5 down to 135, down to 134.5. We have 79% of the bets and 83% of the cash on the over. And yet it's going junder. I'll tell you. What can I tell you? Central Arkansas is 14-9 to the over. They're 6-3 to the over when they're at home against the spread. On the total, rather. They're just bad. Their offense doesn't do squat for shit. Somehow they're 5-4 at home against the spread. I don't know. I mean, they're 1-4 in their last 5 games. 1-4. Their last 5. 1-4. Just lost to Austin Peay, 90-67. What's impressive about that is Austin Peay stinks too. They're 10-15. And they got busted up. This Arkansas team is lost. They only put up 47 points against Quinnipiac. 65 points against North Alabama. They're getting bludgeoned. So, yeah, Jacksonville should be able to go out there and roll these guys. But the fact that this number is showing double digits to me says this could be a problem, because what happens with Jacksonville when they're sporting double-digit spots out there is these games go under. They got their last 3 unders in a row. When I was looking at these two teams, bottom line, Central Arkansas is only averaging 59.6 points a game their last 3. Jacksonville's got a stout defense across the conference. And I got to go with the under. It's plain and simple. It's dropping. 135.5. It was a little juicy for me at 135.5. So when you see this when you're trying to read the line and you see the minus 120, what's important to notate there is, did it just move or is it moving in the other direction? And this is a situation where it's moving in the other direction, meaning it already moved to 135.5. Now we're seeing 135, so 134.5. If this 120 number was sitting at like minus 105, that would tell you that it just moved from it just went from 136 to 135.5. Minus 105 now to minus 120. But the fact that it's minus 120, it means it already spent some time at minus 105. Then it got to minus 110. It's continuing to take action and action and action, despite, remember what I said, 79% of the bets and 83% of the cash on the over. This one here, we're going to just look to a little bit of the X's and O's. We see that Central Arkansas is struggling. Their season's over. They're hopeless. They're done. Jacksonville should go out there, put them boys in the clink and shut them down under 135.5. And let's go on to another shit game. 7:30 start. Jacksonville State this time. Jacksonville and Jacksonville State. This way here, you don't have to separate the two. We're playing them both. Sam Houston, Sammy Hugh. The thing about Sam Houston is we just talked about Central Arkansas. Well, look at Sam Houston. They are the first team. Jacksonville State's 9-2. Check this out. 97% of the bets. 97. 79% of the cash are on Jacksonville State. Just about everybody. Just about every ticket being written is on Jacksonville State. And the line went from plus 1.5 to plus 3 against a 1-10 Sam Houston team. The total's gone from 143.5 down to 142.5. We have 66% of the bets and 64% of the cash looking at this under. And overall, Jacksonville State's pretty impressive. Sure. It's not just that they are 17-7. They're 14-7 against the spread. So there's a big red flag here. I think Sam Houston is real in this one. But I can't take myself to bet on a team that hasn't won a game since 2025. They're bad. They did just play a tough game against Liberty, and this is where I think some of the overreaction's coming in, because Liberty's another one of those teams that's top of the drop. Overall, from a Liberty perspective, they're 19-5. And they're 14-7 against the spread. Sam Houston goes into Liberty. They only lose 64-61 on a 10.5-point spread. Sam Houston's coming home after 3 straight road games. They haven't been home on home court since January. Jacksonville State, on the other hand, 4 straight home games. First time they're taking the bus on the road since January 25th. I don't know if it's a bus, but I'm venturing it's a plane. Seems like it's a little bit of a travel. But nonetheless, coming off a non-cover. I don't know how you get invested in the side in this one. This is roll the dice again, like we talked about Ice Trade. Rolling the dice at Madison Square Garden. I'm going to go with the under here. I got 2 unders. Don't matter. Jacksonville. Did he say Jacksonville or Jacksonville State? Doesn't matter. They're both going under. Jacksonville State. Look, Sam Houston just can't be consistent on the offensive side of the hop. This travel spot for both these teams, essentially. The first road game for Jacksonville State. The first home game for Sam Houston means both these teams have been traveling. There's no real advantage one side versus the other. But both teams can play some defense. Overall, average scores, the way these things go down, to me, this had to be a situation where I jump. I think Sam Houston wins this game. I have a sneaky suspicion. But I will be damned. I'm going to go out there and fire away on these boys. Look, 5-1, Sam Houston is at home to the over. 6-3, Jackson State is on the road to the over. I get it. It's not pretty. Just expect this to be an ugly, awful game. Look at these two teams here. 64-61, Sam Houston played the Liberty. Jacksonville State can put up points, but can they do it on the road? They averaged about 75 a game on that 4-game homestand. So even if they go 75, can Sam Houston's averaging around 65, 66 points a game. We should be in plenty of good shape to get this one done. And we'll keep it rolling. Last game on the card for the college hoop side of things here. It's the old angle. You guys know the angle. Ranked team on the road. Unranked or lesser ranked team at home. And they're the favorite? What? 65% of the bets and 68% of the cash have come in on this Maryland Terrapin side of things. Nationally ranked number 25. Barely made the cut, but made the cut. And they made the cut because of recent performance. They've been battling. They're scrappers. They're grinders. We'll talk about it in a second. 57% of the bets and 57% of the cash are on the under. And yet it's gone from 146.5 to 148. 146.5 to 148 in this game. Expecting points. Battle. Big Ten's pretty, there's a lot of parity. You know, you can, obviously when you look across this, the ranks here and you see this number, 8-5 versus 6-7. The revenge spot, for sure. Overall, we see Nebraska, home court advantage in the Big Ten. You think, we talk about it all the time, 9-5 against the spread Nebraska is at home. 10-5 in the favorite role. On the other side of things, Maryland, they find themselves 2-5 against the spread on the road. Now, Maryland dominated Illinois in Illinois. That's when the eyes started opening. That's when everybody started looking at this team going, whoa, wait a minute. Do we have somebody here? Do we have a shooter? They were +6. They won by 21. Then they go to Indiana. They get the win. They sneak it out. They come from behind. They win that game 79-78, non-cover. They host Wisconsin. They bust up Wisconsin 76-68. That game wasn't even as close as that score might indicate, even though it's an 8-pointer. They go into Ohio State. Now they show just a smidge of vulnerability, 73-70. They follow it back up and they beat Rutgers 90-81. What do we know about Rutgers? Rutgers ain't who Rutgers last night. Didn't look good at all. From tip to tip, from wire to wire, whatever you want to call it, Rutgers was embarrassing. So I'm going to discount that last win. To me, yeah, you lost at Ohio State. You got the ship right, but you didn't cover back at home, and now you're going to roll on the road. And this Nebraska team's got 4 straight wins. An impressive resume. They beat Illinois. They go to Oregon. They beat the Ducks. Dogs, 6.5-point dogs. They beat them up. They go to Washington. They dominate Washington by 14 points. Back-to-back shit travel spot worth noting. They come back home. They host Ohio State. Ohio State was on themselves a little bit of a run, and Nebraska gassed them. They ran into the old buzzsaw. And that's what I think happens in this game here. Overall, we've talked about it before, this ranked versus unranked strategy. I'll pull the numbers up for the next show that we do, but how about this? What do we like to find? We talk about the 3s. Well, how about the 4s? When the books make a Maryland team specifically between the 4s, +4 to -4, kind of saying they might win, they could lose, we think it's going to be close. Let's just throw an extra point on either side of it. And they've got a total over 128.5. So they're not sure what Maryland's going to do, and the total's reasonably high. And this one's climbing. I say reasonably high. I mean, 128.5 is like an MAAC program, like a Niagara, a Canisius. I expect 128.5 in those. Maryland's 0-11 in those positions. 0-11 between the 4s on a total greater than a 128.5. Pretty straightforward, pretty cut and dry. A little revenge mind for, not Northeastern. Little revenge on the mind for these Corn Huskers, and I think they find their revenge tonight. Sweet, sweet revenge for them Huskers. Will get us off the schneid here. Shout out to Ramon. This is Irving, shoulder, out tonight versus Miami. Utah, Kessler, out tonight versus the Clippers. Shout out to Swizz. What up, Swizz? Rick J says Maryland center queen. Shot 0 for 4 versus Nebraska last time. Dottie shoots that bad again. Action Jackson says what an ugly game. Rick J. Nevada Sportsbook set a record of profit for Super Bowl weekend, and they're still removing trends to bet. I'll tell you what, for everybody saying they didn't like the Super Bowl, they didn't think it was going to be a good Super Bowl, guess what? Pretty fucking good. It's the most viewed Super Bowl ever for what people had to say about that. Also, I saw that Kendrick Lamar on YouTube achieved more downloads than the second most downloaded Super Bowl halftime show. You don't know what that's, anybody know what that's previous record holder for most downloaded Super Bowl halftime show was? Wonder if anybody knows. I'll tell you. Redbeard says Rutgers on the shit list. You know, Redbeard, I think that's a good call. Because when I bet on him, I lose. When I bet against him, no, Smoke, it's not. It's a good guess. Prince was my favorite halftime show. That one fucking rocked. That was a great point. That was one of those spots where you look back at life and you're like, man, things were really popping. That was just a good time. Yeah, Trisha M. Michael Jackson. I didn't know it was Michael Jackson. I would have thought that too. Stop. I would have thought the JT Janet thing. No. Sacramento Kings, New Orleans Pelicanos. This might be my favorite all-time trend in all sports because it's almost universal. Philadelphia Flyers, New Jersey Devils. I know it's the NHL. Why is he talking the NHL? Because it works there. The Flyers bust up the Devils. Then they roll in back to the Devils 2 days later, and the Devils bust them up. Short notice, move them back home, and the Devils get their revenge. That's exactly what we're looking for here. The Kings opened up at 5s. They're now 8.5s. 52% of the bets are on the Pelicans, but 52% of the cash has come in on the Sacramento Kings. The New Orleans Pelicanos totals dropped 5 points. 85% of the bets and 84% of the cash are on the over. It's come down 5 points. Sneaky Ninja says he was thinking MJ too. Says, RIP, man. I saw an interesting Michael Jackson. You remember? Some of you guys might not remember. I barely remember. I only remember because I saw the show. He did when he had the Thriller come out. He got sponsored by Pepsi. True story. The agreement said he'll never be on screen for Pepsi for more than 5 seconds in that commercial, and he would not hold a can of Pepsi in that commercial. I thought that was fascinating. I didn't realize that. And then I looked back at it and I was like, yeah, you're right. Because they showed the commercial. And I was like, you're right. He's only in there for 5 seconds or less, and he never holds a can of Pepsi. That might be the biggest G of them all. He got everybody on that one. I don't know. Tom Brady got everybody pretty good as an owner of a football squad. Not being able to go and interview and players and be involved in their practice facilities before the actual game start. It's a big deal because all that Fox preparation had to be done by everybody else, and this guy couldn't do shit with then it would be interpreted as interference. That's a pretty good one. His hair caught on fire. Because they did a second take. How about that? It was the second take of that show, or of that, it was the music video. Second take of that music video is when his hair caught on fire. Second take. They already had a good one. They wanted to do one more, and then poof, like a fucking human flamethrower. All right. Look, this last day before the All-Star break, I'm going to tell you is this. Just an over. I wrote this one down because I thought it was just fascinating. You know, Ramon kind of hinted to this as well earlier. Conference games, the last game before an All-Star break, are 54, 28, and 2 to the over. Just for what it's worth. Do with that information what you want. 54, 28, and 2. Conference games, last day before the All-Star break, 54, 28, and 2 to the over. Who's that apply to tonight? New Orleans, Golden State, OKC, and the Clippers. 54 and 28 to the over. New Orleans, Golden State, OKC, and the Clippers. Okay. Now that being said, all of that aforementioned information out there. Home loss, same team, back-to-back, 57 and 28 to the spread. 57 and 28. The revenge spot back at home. This was a little tricky because they didn't leave home. But this trend specifically speaks to that. If you lost one of that first game at home, and you're going against the same team, 57 and 28. You bounce back. You get your revenge. Another little tricky one. Dogs of 8.5 points or more that are in their third game in 4 nights on the second leg of a back-to-back. You would think that's a bad spot. It's not. It's not a bad spot. But Kings as a favorite. If you just blindly fade away your 20 and 10, fading these Sacramento Kings in the favorite role, 20 and 10. We're going to extract the exact revenge here is what we're going to do. We're going to take this New Orleans Pelicanos number. And if we're getting official injury information, then yeah, there's a 9 out there. I don't care. I think the wrong team's favored. I know it's crazy with 8.5 points to think that Sacramento's I think it's going to be a close game. New Orleans kind of got out of it early yesterday, and they just never really got back into it, despite what the score had to show. Second leg of a back-to-back at home after losing to the opponent. I love that one. That's quick revenge on your home court. Or home ice, as I mentioned with that Devils-Flyers game. I'm pretty sure it exists everywhere. I'm pretty sure. I guess I'd have to look at all the other sports, but I think that's a mighty fine number for us to take a look at. Let's go to this Golden State Warriors and Houston game. Went a little deeper here. We had a big night last night, so coming off a 10-3, I wanted to just fire, because we're going to get this All-Star break, and then we got to fire the bullets while we can. Golden State opened at 1.5. They really haven't moved. You got 67% of the bets and 68% of the cash on the Warriors. Totals on the climb. What'd I just say? Last game, divisional matchup before the All-Star break, the teams go over. This total went from 220.5 to 224.5, with 82% of the bets and 83% of the cash on the over. So you have correlated movement. Golden State coming in at a mediocre 500. Did Jimmy Butler shit his pants last night? I say yes. I say yes. Did you guys see? I say yes. What do you do? Sit on a chocolate bar? Come on. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the answer is a yes. The answer is yes. He shit his pants. Shout out to Mel. Says the Mel POD USA money line in the under 6.5 at plus 110. Jerry Davis, for real. Oh, man. Sorry to hear that, Jerry Davis. Sorry to hear that, man. Holidays are tough enough. Shout out to you, brother. Dan likes a little Sabonis PRA. It's the old well that keeps on giving. Zion Williams conditioning ruled out. Paid millions and team won't let him play back-to-backs. It's okay. I like him better. What's up, Swizz? Okay. Golden State just got busted up by Dallas. How do I know? Well, we were on. I was on. It was yesterday. So we're on the second leg of a back-to-back. This Warriors team has been road warriors. I believe it's 6 straight now. With this game going on, they lost 3 of the 5. When they win, they cover. When they lose, they don't. Pretty straightforward. Rockets. Ups and downs on the year. They go on the road. They stink, but they are a strong. Well, they don't stink entirely. They had a great stretch. Then they kind of hit the brakes there. They hit Brooklyn 99-97, Minnesota 127-114, Dallas 116-105, only to go back home and bust up Toronto 94-87 in a low-scoring specialty. And Phoenix 119-111. Haven't covered for shit. Someone's got to win. Someone's probably going to cover. That's the breakdown. No, that's not the breakdown. What I got for you guys is I double dipped this game. Couple of reasons why. First and foremost, this is as bad a spot as it can get for Golden State. You got a pissed off team buying low in the Houston Rockets. You got a team that's tired in the second leg of a back-to-back in Golden State. When Golden State's a favorite, when Golden State's on the road, they were previously a favorite less than a -2. So Golden State on the road, previously a favorite. What was that total? Well, we're sitting at 1. We're sitting at 1. What happens? They're 0-10. They don't win. They're not a good road travel team. They were a favorite. Dallas, they lost. They're going to have some tired legs. Defense is going to be optional. We know these games tend to go over. No Jabari Smith for the Rockets, but I don't think it makes a difference. Overall, Jimmy Butler shit his pants. That guy's bad news, man. I thought the Rockets flipped the switch. I thought they flipped the switch in Golden State, but I don't know who's going to play. Draymond Green's questionable. Trace Jackson Davis is questionable. Buddy Hield's probable. I'm sorry, these guys are probable. Trace Jackson Davis is probable. Buddy Hield's probable. Draymond Green's probable. And Houston's got their team. Houston's in place. Last game before, they're at home. You know that they play incredibly well. In the home barn, it's a double dipper. I feel like I'm channeling my inner LJ from H-Town. Houston at home in the first half. Houston full game. I'm just going to fade away on the fact that we've got this 0-10 spot. Golden State on the road after a favorite when the line's less than a -2. They're not sure what they're going to do. You take the other side because they don't come through is what happens in that spot. So we're going to rock with this thing with Houston. And I don't know why I put Nebraska in here twice. 2 games left in the NBA. The Heat and the Mavericks. Battle. This one's got a lot of player prop potential. I was going through and I was writing down some of the player props I like, and I was like, man, there's like 5 for this game. There's like 3 for the others. Weird. Line went from -1.5 to -2.5 to -3.5 for the road favorite Miami Heat. 70% of the bet, 68% of the cash on the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas also on that second end of a back-to-back, having just taken down Golden State. No travel. Totals dropped 8 points from 223.5 down to 215s, even some 214.5s. And 67% of the bet, 62% of the cash on the over, and it's going under. It's tricky. Kyrie out. Klay Thompson out. Not sure about PJ Washington. And then, of course, Dwight Powell's out. Caleb Martin's out. Derek Lively's out. We already talked about the big man. On the other side of things, Duncan Robinson's probable. Jovic's probable. I like Jovic to get over 3s. Bam's out. Bam. Andrew Wiggins out. So you can see why this total's dropping. Kevin Love, personal, out. Just doesn't want to play there anymore. Kevin Love. Makes me think of that State Farm commercial. Mama ain't got no rings. I jumped in on the Miami Heat for this game. I just thought this was one of those tricky situations where I don't want to be on the other side of this thing one bit. I mean, the Mavericks is a home dog. Yeah, they're 14-5-1 in those positions against the spread, so it definitely, I could see some value here, but, they just beat them. Or they just won, I should say. The thing is, and this is the key, Dallas steps up to the level of competition. And the Miami Heat just aren't that level of competition. 25-27 is a sub 500 record. And when the Heat are on the road, when the Mavericks are playing a team that's on the road and they're sub 500, they don't win those games. 70%, 7-3 to the road team in the last 10. 25-10 overall in a 35-game sample. Shit teams find a way to beat the Mavericks. And mostly I think it's because they just don't bring their personnel out there against those scrub mediocre spots. Road favorites against the spread in non-conference games. Non-con. So we talked about those conference opportunities in the last game before the All-Star break going over. How about 87-58 as an advantage to the road favorite against the spread? Good enough for me. I took the Heat. I got the Heat at -111, and it's moving on up. It's now -119. That's some of the best odds that can be captured. And then last but not least, we'll bring her home. The last game of the evening. I'm going to jump on the Jazz. It's ugly. It's a match unit for well, I don't know about that entirely, but this line went up as high as 10 and it started to get some buyback. It started at 8.5. It went up to 10. It's back down to 9.5. This is that move. Remember what I talked about. When you see a 10 at minus 114, then you see a 9.5 at plus 100. This number just moved. Now, the question would be by 9 p.m. at night, does this line go up to minus 120, indicating that it's going to move down again? 57% of the bets and 64% of the cash are on the Clippers, the Clip Show. 224.5 has gone to 228. The number's on the climb. You got 95% of the bets, 94% of the cash on the over. This does qualify as one of those conference games, the last one before the All-Star break, to take some points. And I get it. Player prop I really like here, we just missed him the other day, is Lauri Markkanen. The over 4.5 rebounds. This has moved to 5.5 rebounds. And it's juiced. So I didn't want to get involved. It's tricky, I know. I talk about how poor the Jazz perform at home. They're 11-12 against the spread, so they've made some stride. They're 15-14 on the road, so they're basically a 500 spread cover team. They've only been a favorite once. They did not cover that spread. That's the Jazz, 13-40. Give the Wizards a lot of heat for being bad with their 9-win season, but man. And the Jazz, guess what? They just beat the Lake Show. It's funny because they had the Clippers. They were getting 18 points against the Clippers at LA. They got busted up by 20. It was a pretty tight line. Then they go and they play the Lakers. These are both at LA. So there's no travel, and well, marginal travel. Interstate travel, like a couple blocks away type travel, right? And they lose that game 132-113. So they lose to the Clippers, then they lose to the Lakers, then they go back home. Day off, climatize. They play the Lakers in a rematch spot. They're getting 9. They trounce a 131-119. Big win for the Jazz. The Clippers, on the other hand, back-to-back W's, that one I mentioned with Utah. Then they had Memphis. They're on the second leg of a back-to-back. Now, here's where things get interesting. You're on the second leg of a back-to-back, but you're in elevation. That, to me, is the old kiss of death. On top of that, like I said, there's no travel. They climatized. And I just don't like the way the Clippers have been rolling here as of late. The Jazz are healthy. The thing with the Jazz is there was a lot of talk about their roster changing over the course of the trade deadline, but nobody wanted anybody. And so they're all still intact. And now those trade conversations have kind of subsided. You just won a game against the Lakers, who some are starting to say should be the new champions. We'll see. I'm not saying that, but some have said that. Ultimately, to me, this one just comes down to the fact that the Jazz score 122 points a game. The Clippers score 110 points a game. You're in elevation. You're on the second leg of a back-to-back. It's a revenge spot. You're at home. It's short-term, quick turnaround revenge. It's all those factors that we talked about, and I got a 10-pack. Jazz don't have to win the game. I don't think they do win the game. Just don't get beat up by double digits. Be competitive. Maybe be up in the first half. Let it start to slip away in the third quarter, and then by the fourth quarter, you lose by 7. Just give me the Jazz. Give me the 10. Bow on the Showtime, boys and girls. Big stuff. Peter says, so true. Altitude is real thin air. Sure is, man. Sure is. Appreciate everybody. Nick Geachel. Looks like starting the day off with an L. Cal Baptist blows a halftime lead. Oh, no. That's not what you want to see. That's not what you want to see. Mel says Werenski's awesome. I don't think so. He's an injury case, but we'll see. We'll see. Trisha M says, I'm ashamed to take the Heat boost at 115 plus. Ramon Scott says, I guess they'll play with 2 players. All right, you guys. That's going to do it for us tonight. I appreciate everybody rocking here with us. Appreciate you spending that time taking it. Appreciate the gifted memberships from our guy Redbeard gifting 2 Sports Money memberships. Our guy Joe W gifting 2 Sports Money memberships. And then there's Old E with a 5-pack, gifting the 5-pack to bring us home, you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody's time. Good luck with your bets tonight. And we'll see you guys real soon. Stay tuned on behalf of the Sports Money Network. Thank you guys all for watching. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button on the way out the door. Thank you much.